Hey there. Today, Bungie dropped another detailed weapons TWAB following up on the appetizer from last week. Most of the details range from minor to okay, but a lot of stuff could be potentially meta-changing, so you may want to make a few mental notes as we go through the TWAB today. I'm going to go ahead and comb through all of the important stuff in today's TWAB and hopefully describe it in a way that is easy for people to understand. But before we get into that, have you ever dreamed of fitting an amazing AAA quality game right in your pocket? Well, good news for you, buddy boy. Wake up and smell Raid Shadow Legends. With hundreds of artifacts to equip and over 600 awesome looking champions, all with unique skills, you can build your team, develop your champions, and raid your way. If you're a real gamer, you care about the end game, well, say hello to the Doom Tower. Pretty much a gigantic prison, it's filled with big time challenges and big time rewards. In order to succeed, might I recommend high resistance and ways to remove debuffs. A couple bosses need specific mechanics to be beaten though, like the Scarab King. Now I could tell you what those mechanics are, but come on, half the fun is finding out on your own. Raid also just released a new souped up champion, Ultimate Death Knight. He's powerful, ready to go, and just like Raid, totally free. Just log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and October 27th and you'll get Ultimate Death Knight for free. Use DK Rise's promo code for a bunch of free items to instantly level your new strongest champion all the way to level 50 and 5-star Ascension. But that's not all. Raid's got a new feature, Awakening, and a brutal new dungeon, the Iron Twins Fortress. With all this content, there's never been a better time to get started. New players, use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack worth almost $30, a free champion Verges, and also this cool in-game loot. You'll find your rewards right here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. Once you're in, you can find me in-game under the name Fall Uwoot, and if you're fast, you can join my clan. And it's that easy. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you in-game. All right, back to the content. Before getting into the weapon stuff, big news about the currency in D2 moving forward. Bungie is getting rid of all destination materials, kind of big. Dusklight shards, data lettuce, helium, yada yada yada, all going bye-bye. They mentioned that in Season 19, which happens in December, you will no longer be able to obtain it, keyword being obtain. They're not manually removing it from your inventories. If in Season 19 you have those materials laying around in your inventory, you can go directly to Master Rahul at the tower and turn them in for Glimmer. 5k Glim Glam for a stack of 20 destination materials, 250 Glimmer a piece for 1 mat. Bungie clarifies that this will 100% be the only use for destination materials moving forward. So with that in mind, feel free to burn through them between now and the end of Season 18. Also in Season 19, which again drops in December, you'll be able to exchange Dark Fragments, Phantasmal Fragments, and Here Always pieces at Raoul for Glimmer 2. Enhancement Prisms and Ascendant Shards will have destination materials outright removed from their cost and replaced with legendary shards. Moving on, because planetary mats are an easy way to get Glimmer in D2 right now, Bungie wants to make it easier to get Glimmer in Season 19, and apparently their master plan for doing that is by giving more Glimmer from public events. In Season 19, a regular public event will get you 3,300 to 4,600 Glimmer, and heroic public events will get you between 10k and 12.5k Glimmer. Now, between you, me, and the wall, yay, I guess? Not gonna lie to you people, I would 100% rather just stand in front of Raoul like a zombie and just shove materials into his face until I'm Glimmer rich, but that's just one man's opinion. I will put the vibe out there that with this change, I'm sorta maybe worried about how newer players are going to get more legendary shards. I am a veteran player sitting on a healthy amount, but now legendary shards are going to be more valuable in the simplified D2 economy. And with that in mind, a bunch of new lights may find themselves shard broke in the near future. I don't know, we'll see how it plays out. Bungie mentions that any other thing in the game that usually requires destination materials in some way will just have the planetary mat part removed entirely. And because they're going away, a few Ghost Shell mods are getting removed in Season 19. The Bountiful Harvest mod is getting a change where you get more Glimmer when harvesting from resource nodes. So I guess if you're low on Glimmer, slap on that Bountiful Harvest mod. If you care, Bungie is also giving a new reputation system for certain in-game vendors like Devrim K and Failsafe. The old system where you turn in destination mats to gain reputation ranks are being completely removed. With that old system gone, there won't be any rank requirements to get armor from those vendors. Not a big deal, but a good change for new players for sure. The vendor ghost shells and emblems can now be bought for legendary shards. Devrim and Failsafe are getting their daily bounties upped from 3 to 4, yippee, and they'll be removing the sale of sunset weapons from both vendors when Season 19 goes live. Alrighty, weapon talk time, baby. Captain Tank Top, aka Mercules, is back in the TWAB, and he has given us a lot of numbers and info regarding the upcoming mid-season patch. Translation: these weapon changes aren't happening in Season 19, these are literally happening next week, Tuesday, October 18th. Auto rifles, which apparently have a much higher usage rate in regular PvP than I would have imagined, are getting a mild tweak. They're upping the effects of stability on recoil reduction by around 20% at the high end, meaning you'll notice this effect much more on your auto rifle if it has higher stability to begin with. You won't really feel it very much if your rifle has low stability. For precision frame autos, they're upping the crit damage multiplier to the point where you'll get 31 damage on a headshot instead of 30. Very minor change there. They wanted to improve the weapon a tad without really lowering the optimal time to kill, because they feel that would make autos too good, and I agree. And now we come to bows. Somebody call the Banana Man, because Bungie out here nerfing the bow hand cannon hot swapping, which apparently was really hard to counter at high level play. The TLDR there is that they are increasing the bow stow duration. That's going to vary between both each bow subfamily and your weapon's handling stat. But the bottom line is hot swapping between a bow and anything else in PvP is going to be a tad slower starting next week. Something tells me it'll still be really effective though if you build into it hardcore. Pulse rifles. Bungie admits that they are doing very well in the PvP sandbox right now. If you've seen my video comparing essentially the 3 most popular ones right now, you'll know they've been frequently topping the Trials top 10 list for a while. A few things are being done to pulse rifles in general. First, they're improving the effects of handling by 5% at the high end and lowering by 2% at the low end. Translation: if your pulse rifle has high handling, it'll get a touch more next week, and if it has low handling, it'll get a touch slower next week. They did that because they felt there wasn't enough of a difference in feel of weapon handling for pulse rifle subfamilies. The damage fall-off scale is also being changed at the low end. Meaning, if your rifle has low range to begin with, your damage fall-off will potentially be a tad shorter than before next week. Range is important, people. For adaptive frame pulse rifles only, they are upping the headshot multiplier, taking your damage from 30.4 to 31.4. That'll apparently let you kill a Guardian below tier 4 Resil in PvP with just 2 headshots. Sounds scary, but remember, the sky is not falling. High Resil is currently the meta in PvP. Don't know too many people out there running 3 Resil in PvP these days, and if you are doing that, you're not doing it right, buddy boy. Oh, and final thing for pulse rifles, the Peace of Mind, one of my big 3 rifles, is getting the zoom tone down from 19 to 18. Not a huge deal, but it'll probably feel slightly less good next week, slightly less sticky. Moving on to scout rifles, particularly high impact scout rifles. Bungie originally wanted to help them out by reducing how punishing it was to hit a body shot, but they ended up kinda over buffing them. Now they're a tad too easy to use, so high impact scout rifles are getting their body shot damage taken from 42 back down to 40, and crit damage is going from 73.5 to 70. Their optimal TTK will now require 3 headshots across all Resil values, GG, no re. And now we come to sidearms. Listen carefully during this paragraph because you may hear the sound of true Vanguard somewhere out there in America getting a boner. Bungie feels that with the removal of the auto-aim fall-off bonus from Rangefinder, more on that later, sidearms felt lacking. Their solution increased the auto-aim fall-off distance by 30% across the board. Okay, putting this out there right now. Do you play on controller or play on console? Use Drang. 30% is a big bonus. I already feel that while kind of rare in PvP, in the right hands, a good SMG can be kind of filthy. Drang loses nothing from the Rangefinder nerf because it never had Rangefinder and only improves with that 30% damage fall off distance. Calling it right now, if you play on console, if you play on controller, Drang will slap. Warm that up right now. Oh, and if you're worried about Forerunner benefiting from that 30% buff, don't worry, Merc has clarified on Twitter that Forerunner will not be getting that 30%. Okay, SMGs, some of them are more equal than others. We all knew this was a long time coming. In general, they've shortened the damage falloff end from 24 meters to 23 meters across the board. Precision frame SMGs, i.e. big time troublemaker Shira's Wrath, is getting more base damage by 1 point and headshot damage buff from 22.4 to 23.8. However, the monkey's paw demands a sacrifice. That'll be happening in the form of a zoom nerf. The zoom factor on both Shira and Friction Fire is being taken from 16 down to 15. Wah wah. Again, we all kind of knew that was coming. Shira's extra zoom factor has been super cash money for a long time now. I still feel that with that change, Shira will still be good for sure. You'll just kind of have to rewire your brain a little bit with that loss of 1 zoom. Lightweight frame SMGs are getting their base damage taken from 11 to 10.85, and crit damage is coming down from 18.2 to 17.9. Not too big of a damage drop. I still think that really good lightweights like the Multimach will still be great in PvP. I'd really like to point out though that with the nerfs to Rangefinder, the damage reduction in lightweight SMGs, and the zoom penalty to Shira and Friction Fire, expect to see a lot of this weapon moving forward in PvP. Teraba, already disgusting right now and apparently not getting touched by any of the SMG changes at all. Again, I'm just warning you right now, Teraba is going to start popping up way more often. Be prepared. Or start using it and fight fire with fire. Your call. Fusion rifles. If you're out there and you're still mad about the Zur ingredient existing, well, mildly good news for you. Precision frames are noticeably just better than all other frames, and Papa Bungie ain't okay with that. Therefore, precision frames, including the Zur ingredient, are getting a 50% nerf to the intrinsic effect that the perk has on recoil direction, i.e. slightly more jank recoil by 50% on the Zur ingredient and other precision frame fusion rifles. GG no re. Moving on to Glaives. Difficult to counter when they have shield energy. Understatement of the year. Glaives are getting their DR toned down from 75 to 50%, and that'll be for PvP only, by the way. I really think Glaives are getting off light here, especially because they're getting a buff of their hit registration, which on its own is going to make them way better moving forward. I'm actually pretty confident that even though they're getting nerfed next week, they're actually going to be more popular in Season 19 due to that hit registration buff. You've been warned. Sniper rifles. Dueling a sniper in PvP can be a huge pain in the ass with how flinch works right now. I mean, sometimes it feels like they take little to no flinch at all. Bungie's solution increased the settle time after receiving flinch by 60%. That means it'll take longer for the flinching sniper to have their crosshair fully reset and come back down. To make sure that doesn't make the PvE sniping experience any they're reducing received flinch in PvE for snipers to counteract the previously mentioned change. And best news of all, to me anyway, now that they've had sufficient playtest time behind the curtain, they are officially pulling the trigger and making similar changes to linear fusion rifles in Season 19. Now I know that's going to make a small portion of you get angry, but woo, about f***ing time, baby. I get it, some of you really like linear fusion rifles in PvP, but they eat flinch for lunch and they just headshot you right back with little effort, even if you're just pumping them full of bullets. Really glad that change is coming. Sorry to those who are affected negatively by it. Moving on to trace rifles. They ain't too popular right now, and Bungie feels like they've got a good way at improving how they feel in-game. They're going to bump up the effect that the stability stat has on recoil reduction at the low end by about 10%, and at the high end by about 25%. That is potentially a big buff. Certain trace rifles that already have high stability are probably going to feel way better now. Aegir's Scepter and Wave Splitter in particular will probably feel really stable, given that they already have gobs of stability right now. Rocket launchers are getting a blast radius buff in PvP because, why not? Perk-wise, Bungie is removing the audio cue on gut shot straight. Gotta admit, wasn't really bothering me, but then again, I don't really use the perk because I just aim for the head. Rangefinder, which Bungie admits is just a silly strong perk across the board and has been for a long time, is getting toned down. In particular, the bonus on aim assist fall-off damage isn't really needed because Rangefinder does so much for you already. TLDR, Bungie will be removing the extra 20% bonus on aim assist fall-off given by Rangefinder next week. I do feel that even with this change, Rangefinder will still be a hot weapon perk for PvP, just slightly less hot overall. Exotic-wise, Jade Rabbit is way too easy to use, and the aim assist is getting gutted by about 20 overall. Yeah, that sounds about right. Ugh, God help me. Lord of Wolves. Bungie mentions that the Release the Wolves perk reduces accuracy by a lot. The increased spread meant that it was difficult to land critical hits even on bigger targets without having to be dangerously close to them. Therefore, they are reducing the accuracy penalty by 70%. I'm resisting the urge to freak out because they do mention that it should still be inaccurate enough to the point where releasing the wolves in PvP won't be a theoretical problem child. Here's hoping. I don't want to see that gun topping the weapon charts again in PvP. When Release the Wolves is turned on, reduce ADS accuracy penalty, removed the 25% universal base damage buff, added a 40% additional PvE damage buff, damn, removed the 50% crit multiplier penalty, and added intrinsic full auto. Fingers crossed that however this rework comes out of the oven next week, it'll be great for PvE, especially with that 40% damage buff, but very minor overall for PvP. No time to explain. It is very popular in PvP, as I mentioned earlier. Kinda felt good hearing what I mentioned in my YouTube video being kinda re-emphasized by the in-game numbers. I mentioned in my video that I only use No Time when playing on M&K, and Bungie confirms it's a far more popular PvP weapon on mouse and keyboard. Their overall goal is to tone it down but still make it a viable option in high-level gameplay. They're taking the recoil direction from 90 to 73 and taking the aim assist from 45 to 40. Honestly, could be a lot worse. I think with those changes, it'll still be really hot in PvP for sure. Risk Runner, which, gotta be honest, I'm not really seeing anywhere in PvP, is getting its DR toned down from 50 to 15%. I mean, sure, why not? DR in general is just kind of annoying to me for the most part in PvP, so I'll take it. In the future, Bungie plans on taking down aim assist and tuning flinch on linear fusion rifles. Again, thank the good Lord. And they plan on making machine guns better overall in the future because right now they are the forgotten stepchild in the corner, getting no Christmas toys while LFRs and grenade launchers each get keys to the brand new family car. And they want to remove the damage penalty to Dead Man's Tail at 5 stacks of cranial. Cool. Overall, some really interesting changes to PvP. Maybe a few groans if you're an SMG or linear fusion rifle lover, but I'm actually feeling good about this one. Reminder, these weapon changes will go live next week in D2. Let me know down in the comment section how you feel about these changes. Are you hyped? Not hyped? Angry? Aroused? Would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on stream.